Today we gather to reflect on a profound and sacred subject, how to discern when the divine is reaching out to us. Understanding these signs can transform our lives, leading us to deeper clarity, purpose, and connection with the divine presence. As we explore this topic, let's embrace the wisdom that guides us in recognizing the subtle yet powerful ways through which the divine communicates. The first sign that God is speaking to you. In the midst of life's trials and tribulations, where the world around us seems to be unraveling, one of the most profound ways we can discern the divine's presence is through an unexpected and unshakable sense of peace. This peace is not merely a fleeting emotion, but a deep, encompassing tranquility that defies the chaos that surrounds us. It is a quiet assurance that despite the storm, we are held in a place of calm and security. Imagine standing at the eye of a hurricane. Outside, the winds howl, the rain lashes, and the world seems to be in disarray. Yet, in the center of this chaos, there is a serene calm, an area untouched by the tempest. This imagery provides a powerful metaphor for the peace we experience when the divine is communicating with us. It is a peace that remains constant, irrespective of the external conditions. It is not something we manufacture or control, but rather a gift that transcends the ordinary, grounding us in a sense of stability and assurance. This peace often emerges at moments when we are confronted with decisions or challenges that would normally induce anxiety or fear. In such times, while our rational minds might be overwhelmed with worry, there is an underlying calm that assures us that everything will unfold as it should. It is as though the divine is whispering to our souls, "You are safe." Trust the process. This inner peace serves as a beacon, guiding us through uncertainty and reassuring us that we are not alone. Experiencing this sense of peace amid chaos is not a passive state. It is an active reassurance that the divine is involved in our lives. It encourages us to let go of our need to control every detail and instead to trust in a higher purpose and plan. This peace is a reflection of the divine's presence, a reminder that even when the external world seems uncontrollable, there is a greater order and purpose at work. It aligns us with a perspective that views challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. When we encounter this divine peace, it often brings with it a clarity of thought and a sense of direction. Decisions that might have seemed daunting become clearer, and the path forward appears more illuminated. This peace allows us to navigate life's uncertainties with a sense of grace and confidence, knowing that we are guided by a force greater than ourselves. It shifts our focus from the noise of the external world to the stillness within, where we can discern the divine's guidance more effectively. Moreover, this sense of peace can also be a source of strength and resilience. In moments of crisis, when our faith might waver and doubt might creep in, this inner tranquility acts as a stabilizing force. It helps us to maintain our composure and respond to challenges with a calm and measured approach. This resilience is not born of human effort alone, but is a manifestation of the divine peace that supports us through our trials. This deep sense of peace amidst chaos is a profound testament to the divine's communication with us. It is a reminder that regardless of our circumstances, we are supported and guided by a higher power. It invites us to trust in the divine plan, to embrace the peace that transcends understanding, and to move forward with confidence and grace. Another compelling sign that the divine is speaking to you is the unmistakable guidance you receive through sacred scriptures or spiritual texts. These texts, whether ancient or contemporary, are often viewed as conduits of divine wisdom and insight. When a particular passage or reading seems to address your personal struggles or questions with uncanny precision, it's a clear indication of the divine's communication. Imagine you are grappling with a difficult decision or feeling lost in your journey. In such moments, you might turn to a sacred text for comfort or direction. It is not uncommon for people to find that a verse or a passage which appears to speak directly to their situation. This phenomenon is not merely coincidence, but can be seen as a form of divine guidance. The words you encounter may seem tailored to your exact needs, offering encouragement, clarity, or a new perspective. This direct and personal engagement through Scripture serves as a reminder of the divine's active involvement in your life. Sacred texts have been revered across cultures and religions for their profound insights and teachings. They have the power to resonate with individuals on a deeply personal level, often providing answers or comfort when most needed. This resonance can be particularly striking when the text seems to highlight a solution or offer wisdom precisely aligned with your current challenges. It is as if the divine has orchestrated these moments to offer guidance and reassurance. Furthermore, the guidance through scriptures is not limited to religious texts alone. Many people find divine messages in inspirational readings or philosophical works that align with their spiritual beliefs. The essence is the same when a piece of writing resonates with your inner state or illuminates your path. It signifies that the divine is communicating through these words. The impact of such guidance can be profound, shifting your understanding or providing new insights that align with your spiritual journey. This divine guidance through text also often prompts a deeper exploration of your spiritual beliefs and practices. When you encounter messages that resonate, you might feel inspired to delve further into the study of sacred texts or spiritual teachings. This engagement not only enhances your understanding, but also strengthens your connection with the divine. It becomes a dialogue where you actively seek and receive wisdom, allowing for personal and spiritual growth. In addition, this guidance can manifest as a form of confirmation. When you are contemplating a significant decision or facing a period of uncertainty, encountering a passage that echoes your thoughts or provides clear direction can serve as a confirmation of your intuition or choices. This alignment between your internal guidance and external text reinforces your trust in the divine's plan and your own spiritual insights. The experience of receiving guidance through scriptures or spiritual texts is a powerful reminder that the divine is actively speaking to you, offering direction and comfort. It underscores the notion that divine wisdom is accessible and can be received through various means, including the sacred words that have been cherished and preserved through time. This interaction encourages you to remain open to the teachings of sacred texts and to trust in their capacity to guide you on your spiritual journey. The third sign that the divine is speaking to you often manifests through what might initially appear as serendipitous encounters or divine appointments. These moments are characterized by seemingly random yet perfectly timed interactions or events that align remarkably well with your current needs or questions. Such encounters are not mere coincidences, but can be seen as orchestrated by a higher power to offer guidance, insight, or support. Consider a time when you find yourself facing a challenging situation or grappling with a significant decision. In the midst of your contemplation, you might unexpectedly cross paths with someone who offers advice or shares an experience that resonates deeply with your own circumstances. This individual could be a friend, a mentor, or even a stranger, but their words or actions provide exactly the guidance you needed. This alignment between your need and the unexpected help you receive can be interpreted as a sign of divine intervention. These serendipitous encounters often have a quality of being too timely to be accidental. They might occur at a moment when you are particularly receptive or in need of affirmation. For instance, you might be discussing a personal issue with a close friend, and just as you are expressing your concerns, a stranger might share a story or insight that seems to address your exact situation. Such moments can feel like a gentle nudge from the divine, signaling that you are on the right path or guiding you toward a solution. Moreover, these encounters can also occur through events or opportunities that arise unexpectedly but seem to offer precisely what you need. Perhaps an opportunity for a job or a project aligns perfectly with your skills and aspirations, or a community event provides the networking chance you didn't know you needed. These experiences often reflect a larger, orchestrated plan where the divine is arranging circumstances to support your journey and facilitate your growth. The key to recognizing these divine appointments lies in your awareness and openness. When you are attentive to the moments of synchronicity in your life and remain open to the possibility that these encounters have a deeper significance, you are more likely to see the divine's hand at work. Reflecting on these experiences and their alignment with your personal journey can reveal patterns of guidance that affirm the presence and influence of the divine in your life. Additionally, these serendipitous moments can serve as a source of encouragement and motivation. When you encounter such unexpected support or alignment, it can renew your faith and confidence, reinforcing your belief that you are not alone and that there is a higher purpose guiding your path. These experiences remind you that the divine is actively involved in orchestrating the events of your life to help you achieve your potential and fulfill your purpose. In recognizing and appreciating these divine appointments, you cultivate a sense of gratitude and awareness for the subtle ways in which the divine communicates. By acknowledging these moments as significant, you foster a deeper connection with the guidance being offered and enhance your ability to discern and follow the path laid out for you. The fourth sign that the divine is speaking to you often comes in the form of inner promptings and intuitive thoughts. These are the subtle yet compelling nudges and feelings that arise within us, guiding us towards certain actions or decisions without clear, logical reasoning. These intuitive insights are not mere whims, but are often perceived as a form of divine guidance, prompting us to trust our inner wisdom and follow a path that resonates deeply with our true selves. Imagine you are at a crossroads facing a significant choice in your life. As you deliberate, you might experience a strong sense of knowing or a sudden, clear thought about the direction you should take. This inner voice or feeling, though not always accompanied by tangible evidence, often carries a sense of certainty and clarity. It is an internal signal that aligns with your values, desires, and deeper understanding of your purpose. These intuitive promptings often come without warning, emerging as sudden insights or gut feelings that guide your decisions. They might manifest as a quiet conviction or a persistent thought that seems to persistently call you towards a particular course of action. This inner guidance is a form of divine communication, offering you direction and support that transcends rational analysis. Trusting these intuitive insights requires a deep level of faith and receptivity. It involves listening to the subtle messages that arise from within, even when they do not fit neatly into logical frameworks or conventional wisdom. These promptings often challenge us to step out of our comfort zones and embrace paths that may not be immediately understandable but are aligned with a higher purpose. This form of divine guidance is also closely tied to our sense of alignment with our true selves. When we follow these inner promptings, we often find that we are moving in harmony with our core values and authentic desires. This alignment can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and purpose as we are guided to pursue paths that resonate with our deepest aspirations and inner truths. Moreover, these intuitive thoughts often bring a sense of peace and confidence, even in the absence of external validation. They provide a reassurance that we are making the right choices based on an inner sense of alignment rather than external pressures or expectations. This inner peace serves as a confirmation that we are attuned to divine guidance, reinforcing our trust in the process and our ability to navigate life's challenges with grace. Listening to and acting upon these inner promptings can also enhance our spiritual growth and self-awareness, By paying attention to these subtle messages and reflecting on their significance, we cultivate a deeper connection with our spiritual selves and the divine presence. This practice of inner listening and trust fosters a greater awareness of the divine guidance that is constantly available to us. These intuitive insights are a powerful means through which the divine communicates, offering us direction and affirmation in our journey. They remind us that divine guidance is not always about grand revelations or overt signs, but can be found in the quiet, persistent nudges that arise from within. By embracing and trusting these inner promptings, we align ourselves more closely with the divine's purpose and guidance, leading us to a more authentic and fulfilling path. The fifth sign that the divine is speaking to you often emerges through confirmation received from community and mentorship. This guidance comes in the form of advice, insights offered by trusted individuals, whether they be friends, families, spiritual leaders, or mentors. These interactions can serve as powerful validations of your own inner guidance and decisions, providing clarity and reinforcement as you navigate your spiritual journey. When you find yourself at a crossroads or dealing with a significant decision, it is common to seek counsel from those you respect and trust. The divine often works through these relationships, providing you with guidance and support that resonates with your own inner discernment. For instance, you might share your thoughts and concerns with a mentor or spiritual advisor, and their feedback aligns perfectly with the intuitive insights or feelings you have been experiencing. This alignment between external advice and internal guidance can be seen as a form of divine confirmation, reassuring you that you are on the right path. Community interactions can also play a crucial role in this process. Engaging in discussions with fellow believers, attending spiritual gatherings, or participating in group activities can lead to moments of profound resonance. Sometimes the collective wisdom of a community can address your personal concerns or questions in ways that validate your own sense of direction. The shared experiences and insights from others often mirror the guidance you have been receiving, serving as a testament to the divine's active presence in your life. Mentorship, in particular, offers a unique form of confirmation. Mentors often possess experience and wisdom that can provide valuable perspectives on your journey. When their guidance aligns with your own inner promptings, it reinforces your confidence and clarity. This alignment can come in the form of direct advice or through subtle yet significant observations that echo your own thoughts and feelings. Such confirmations from a mentor can deepen your understanding and strengthen your resolve to follow the path that feels right. Additionally, these interactions often come at pivotal moments when you are seeking answers or direction. The timing of this advice or support can be remarkably precise, further underscoring the sense that the divine is orchestrating these moments to guide you. This synchronicity can be both encouraging and enlightening, providing you with the reassurance that you are supported and guided by a higher presence. Receiving confirmation through community and mentorship also highlights the importance of surrounding yourself with individuals who share your values and spiritual beliefs. These relationships create a supportive network where divine guidance can be reflected and affirmed. Engaging with a community of like-minded individuals or seeking the wisdom of a mentor can enhance your ability to discern and follow the divine direction in your life. The confirmation you receive from community and mentorship serves as a tangible manifestation of divine communication. It underscores the interconnectedness of your spiritual journey with the collective wisdom of those around you and support of those around you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin by telling you that the most powerful force in your life today isn't external. It isn't something outside of you that will determine your future. It's what's inside of you. It is your belief in yourself. Belief is the seed of greatness. Belief is the cornerstone of every great achievement in life. Before anyone else sees your potential, before any success manifests, it all begins with what you believe about yourself. This internal conviction, this unshakable confidence, is what fuels the path to accomplishment. Belief is not something abstract. It is a force that shapes how we think, how we behave, and ultimately what we achieve. The power of belief lies in its ability to define our reality. What you believe about yourself sets the boundaries of your possibilities. If you believe that you are capable, strong, and worthy, then you will act in accordance with that belief. Your actions will reflect your confidence. Your goals will align with your sense of potential, and you will push through obstacles with resilience. On the other hand, if you believe that you are inadequate, unworthy, or incapable, those beliefs will limit you. They will act as self-imposed barriers, shaping your decisions and actions in a way that prevents you from reaching your full potential. It's not just about thinking positively or affirming yourself daily, though these things do help, but about genuinely adopting a mindset that acknowledges your inherent value and capacity. The world may present you with challenges, setbacks, or even failures. But when you deeply believe in your ability to overcome them, you develop the resilience to keep going. This is where belief transcends mere motivation. It becomes the fuel that keeps you moving forward, even when external circumstances are against you. Throughout history, we see countless examples of individuals who defied the odds, not because they were the most talented or the most privileged, but because they had an unwavering belief in themselves. Think of inventors, entrepreneurs, artists, or leaders who faced rejection after rejection, only to rise again because their belief was stronger than their fear of failure. They understood a crucial truth, that what you believe about yourself is what you become. Belief isn't just about the external results we seek, but about the transformation that happens within us. When you believe in your capacity to grow, to learn, and to evolve, you open the door to becoming more than you were yesterday. You invite growth into every area of your life, your career, relationships, and personal development. Every great leap you take towards success is fueled by this foundational belief. Without it, ambition withers and potential remains unrealized. Belief shapes the actions you take, and those actions create habits. Habits over time produce character, and character ultimately determines your destiny. What you believe about yourself forms the lens through which you view the world, and that lens dictates the opportunities you recognize and the risks you're willing to take. Self-doubt is a silent, yet pervasive force that holds many people back from realizing their true potential. Often it doesn't originate from within, but from the voices around us, society, upbringing, and external influences that gradually plant seeds of doubt. These voices shape the way we see ourselves, sometimes with us even realizing it. From a young age, we are conditioned by the environment in which we grow up, and unfortunately, many of those environments are not always conducive to fostering self-belief. In families or communities, certain expectations, traditions, or limitations may be imposed subtly or directly on children. A parent might unknowingly project their own fears or limitations onto their children, discouraging them from dreaming too big or taking risks. Comments like, "That's too hard," or "People like us don't achieve things like that," may seem harmless at the moment, but they are powerful in shaping a child's understanding of what they can or cannot accomplish. As children internalize these messages, self-doubt begins to take root. They start to question their abilities, their worth, and their potential, believing that they are not capable of achieving more than what they've been told is possible. Beyond family, society plays a significant role in shaping self-doubt. Society has a way of defining success and worth based on superficial standard status, appearance, wealth, and conformity to certain norms. From an early age, individuals are bombarded with messages from media, peers, and institutions that tell them who they should be and how they should measure their worth. If you don't fit into these narrow definitions, self-doubt can quickly creep in. Comparisons to others, social pressures, and the fear of being judged create a sense of inadequacy. It becomes easy to start questioning, am I good enough or do I have what it takes to succeed? School systems, too, can inadvertently contribute to self-doubt by valuing certain types of intelligence or talent over others. If a child doesn't excel in the areas traditionally praised, they may come to believe they are less capable, even though their strengths lie elsewhere. This rigid system of evaluation often overlooks the uniqueness of each individual, leaving many to feel inadequate. External voices don't always stop when we grow up. In adulthood, self-doubt is perpetuated by critics, whether they are co-workers, friends, or even strangers. Well-meaning advice or negative feedback can sometimes trigger insecurities, making us second-guess ourselves. Over time, these repeated experiences of doubt from external sources can become so ingrained that they transform into internal voices. We begin to doubt ourselves even in situations where we are fully capable simply because we have been conditioned to do so. However, it's important to recognize that self-doubt is not an inherent trait, but something that is learned. Just as it was planted by external forces, it can be unlearned through intentional effort and the rebuilding of one's inner belief system. Understanding the origin of self-doubt is the first step in overcoming it. Every person on this earth is born with a unique purpose. We are not here by accident. There is an assignment embedded deep within each of us that only we can fulfill. This purpose is not just about a job, a title, or an achievement. It's about the impact we are meant to have on the world and the lives we are meant to touch. Recognizing that you have a unique purpose is essential to unlocking the fullness of your potential, and it starts with believing in yourself. Your purpose is the reason why you possess certain gifts, talents, and passions that set you apart from others. No two people are exactly alike, and that's intentional. You may have skills that come naturally to you, passions that ignite your soul, and visions that stir in your heart. These are clues to your purpose. They are not random. They are designed to guide you toward the contribution you are meant to make in the world. But without belief in yourself, these gifts often remain dormant, and the assignment attached to your life remains unfulfilled. The challenge for many is that they overlook their own uniqueness. We live in a world that often encourages conformity, and as a result, many people suppress their true selves to fit into molds that were never designed for them. They pursue careers or lifestyles that others deem successful, while neglecting the deeper calling within their hearts. They doubt their own instincts, questioning whether they can really make a difference or whether their contributions matter. But the truth is, your purpose is not something that anyone else can define for you. It is something that only you can discover and live out. Believing in yourself is the key that unlocks this purpose. When you believe in yourself, you give yourself permission to explore your passions, to trust your instincts, and to follow the path that feels right for you, even when it looks different from what others expect. Self-belief gives you the courage to step outside of the comfort zone, to embrace challenges, and to grow into the person you were always meant to be. It allows you to trust that you are equipped with everything you need to fulfill your unique purpose, even if the road is unclear at first. Every individual has something to contribute to the world, something that no one else can offer in the same way. When you don't believe in yourself, you deprive the world of the gift that only you can bring. Your purpose may be tied to something that seems small or simple in the eyes of others, but in reality it could have a profound impact on those around you. You might be the one to inspire, teach, or lead others in ways that you can't even imagine. But to step into that role, you must first believe that you have something valuable to offer. Recognizing your unique purpose requires you to embrace your individuality and trust that you were created with intention. There is no substitute for you, and no one can fill your role. Fear and faith are two powerful forces that can shape the trajectory of our lives, but they operate in fundamentally opposite ways. Fear cripples growth, while faith empowers progress, even when circumstances seem difficult or overwhelming. Understanding the dynamic between these two forces is crucial, because whichever one we choose to focus on will ultimately determine the direction of our lives. Fear is a natural emotion that arises when we face the unknown or when we perceive a threat to our comfort, safety, or stability. It often manifests as self-doubt, hesitation, or avoidance. While fear can sometimes serve a protective function in dangerous situations, it becomes a significant barrier when it prevents us from pursuing opportunities, taking risks, or stepping outside of our comfort zone. Fear tells us to stay where it's safe, to avoid failure, and to not reach for more than we currently have. It is the voice in our heads that says, "What if you're not good enough?" or "What if you fail?" It plays on our insecurities and magnifies our worries, causing us to retreat from challenges instead of confronting them. The problem with fear is that it doesn't just hold us back temporarily, it can stall our personal and professional growth indefinitely. When fear controls our decisions, we play small. We avoid new experiences, shy away from responsibilities, and miss out on opportunities that could lead to significant breakthroughs. Fear keeps us trapped in mediocrity, afraid to stretch ourselves and explore our full potential. It is the root of stagnation and the enemy of progress. On the other hand, faith is the antidote to fear. Faith is the belief in something greater than what is immediately visible or known. It is the inner conviction that even in the face of uncertainty, you have the strength, capability, and resilience to overcome obstacles and achieve your goals. Faith, particularly faith in oneself, is what fuels incredible progress. It allows you to move forward with confidence, even when the path ahead isn't clear, because you trust that you are equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Faith doesn't eliminate adversity or challenges, but it changes how you respond to them. Where fear says you might fail, faith says even if you do, you'll learn, grow, and keep going. Faith gives you the courage to take risks, to face failure with grace, and to keep pushing toward your dreams even when setbacks occur. It is a source of inner strength that allows you to persist through the storms of life, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. What's crucial to understand is that both fear and faith require belief. Fear is fueled by a belief in failure, inadequacy, or loss, while faith is rooted in a belief in potential, possibility, and growth. The key difference is that fear limits us, while faith liberates us. When you choose to operate from a place of faith rather than fear, you open yourself up to opportunities that you would have never considered if you had allowed fear to dictate your choices. Many of the world's most successful people have faced significant adversities. They weren't immune to fear, but they chose to focus on faith in themselves, in their vision, and in the possibility of something greater. This faith propelled them to take risks, to innovate, and to persist, even when the odds were against them. It is not that they were without fear, but that they refused to let fear be the final voice in their decision-making process. In life, we will always encounter moments of doubt, but it is our faith in ourselves and in the process of growth that will ultimately carry us forward. Fear will always try to hold us back, but with faith, we can rise above it and unlock the incredible progress that lies on the other side. Action is the clearest reflection of belief. What you do, how you behave, and the decisions you make are direct manifestations of what you believe about yourself and your potential. This connection between belief and action is crucial, because it is through our actions that we give evidence of our inner convictions. In essence, your behavior in the world is a mirror of your self-perception. And what you consistently do reveals the depth of your belief in yourself. When you truly believe in your ability to achieve something, your actions will align with that belief. You will pursue opportunities with confidence, take risks with calculated intent, and persist even when things get tough. This is because belief naturally fuels determination and resilience. When you believe that success is possible and that you are capable, you engage in behaviors that lead you closer to your goals. You seek out solutions instead of focusing on obstacles, and you take initiative rather than waiting for circumstances to change. In short, your belief compels you to act. Conversely, when you are plagued by self-doubt, your actions or lack thereof reflect that. Hesitation, procrastination, and avoidance are all signs of underlying uncertainty. If you believe deep down that you are not capable, that you are not worthy, or that you will fail, it will be evident in your choices. You will avoid challenges, shrink from opportunities, and choose comfort over growth. Inaction, in many cases, is not the result of laziness, but of disbelief in one's own potential. Consider the example of someone who is striving to build a business. If that person believes they have what it takes to succeed, they will wake up early, plan strategically, network, and make every effort to bring their vision to life. Their actions will show that they are committed to their goal because they trust in their ability to achieve it. On the other hand, someone who doubts themselves may hesitate to take the necessary steps, always waiting for the perfect time or fearing failure so much that they never fully commit. Their lack of action speaks louder than their words, revealing the doubts they hold inside. This principle applies to every area of life. Whether it's pursuing a dream, taking on a leadership role, or even making healthy lifestyle choices, your actions are a direct reflection of what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are worthy of success, you will pursue it with focus and determination. If you believe you deserve happiness and fulfillment, you will take actions that align with that belief, building relationships, pursuing passions, and taking care of yourself. However, if you believe that you are not enough, your actions will echo that doubt. You may settle for less, avoid taking risks, or allow others to dictate your path. It's important to recognize that actions don't just reflect beliefs, they also reinforce them. Every time you take a step in line with a positive belief, you strengthen that belief. Action becomes a feedback loop that builds confidence. When you take bold steps toward your goals, even if they're small, you begin to prove to yourself that you are capable. The more you act in alignment with your belief in yourself, the stronger that belief becomes. Conversely, when you fail to act or take actions rooted in self-doubt, you reinforce those limiting beliefs, making it harder to break free from them. This is why taking action, even before you feel fully confident, is essential. Sometimes belief grows through action. You may not always feel like you have everything figured out, but taking one step toward your goal, no matter how uncertain, begins to shift your mindset. Each action you take toward your purpose, no matter how small, confirms to yourself that you are capable, and soon your actions and beliefs begin to align more closely. Action is the manifestation of belief. What you consistently do is a reflection of what you truly believe about yourself, your capabilities, and your potential. If you want to change your life, change your actions, and to change your actions, you must first transform your beliefs. Self-belief is not just a personal force, it creates a powerful ripple effect that extends far beyond the individual. When you believe in yourself, it transforms the way you live, the choices you make, and how you approach challenges. But more importantly, it also impacts the people around you. inspiring and empowering them to believe in their own potential. This ripple effect of self-belief has the power to uplift entire communities, influence future generations, and spark change in ways you may not even realize. When you walk in confidence, fueled by the belief in your own abilities, others take notice. Your actions, grounded in self-belief, demonstrate what is possible. Whether in your family, workplace, or social circles, your belief serves as a model for others. They see you overcoming challenges, taking risks, and pursuing goals with determination, and it gives them permission to imagine that they too can achieve more than they thought possible. Often, people who are hesitant or unsure of themselves need to see someone else live out their potential before they can begin to believe in their own. Your self-belief becomes a source of inspiration that encourages others to step outside of their limitations. This effect is especially powerful because belief is contagious. When people see someone acting with conviction and self-assurance, it shifts their perception of what they can do. They start to question their own doubts and limitations, realizing that if someone else can overcome similar fears or obstacles, they can too. Your belief through your words, actions, and presence becomes a catalyst for others to start believing in themselves. This is why leaders, mentors, and role models who carry themselves with self-belief are so influential. They inspire belief in others simply by living authentically and fearlessly. Moreover, when you believe in yourself, you naturally encourage and uplift those around you. Instead of competing with others or feeling threatened by their success, you begin to see how everyone has their own path and purpose. Your self-belief allows you to be generous with your encouragement because you are secure in who you are. This positive energy radiates outward, creating an environment where others feel supported and empowered to pursue their own dreams. People are drawn to those who believe in themselves because that belief brings with it a sense of possibility and hope. The ripple effect of self-belief can also have a profound impact on future generations. When children grow up seeing parents, teachers, or community members who believe in themselves, it sets a powerful example. It teaches them that self-belief is not only important but necessary for success. They internalize this mindset and carry it with them as they grow, shaping the way they approach life's challenges. This generational impact is crucial because it ensures that the legacy of self-belief continues, creating a culture where individuals are encouraged to pursue their highest potential. On a broader level, self-belief has the power to create change in society. When people collectively begin to believe in themselves and their ability to make a difference, movements are born. Social change, innovation, and progress are often sparked by individuals who believed in their capacity to bring about something greater. These individuals inspire others to join them, and before long, what began as one person's self-belief becomes a collective force for good. Even in small, everyday interactions, the ripple effect of self-belief is evident. When you carry yourself with confidence and positivity, it impacts how others feel around you. You may not even be aware of it, but your presence can uplift someone who is struggling with doubt or insecurity. Your words of encouragement or your example of perseverance can be the spark that ignites someone else's journey towards self-belief. Self-belief is not just a personal victory, it is a gift that you give to the world around you. By believing in yourself, you create an environment where others are inspired to rise to their own potential. You show them what's possible, and in doing so, you become a catalyst for their growth and transformation. The impact of your self-belief reaches far beyond your own life. It has the power to change lives, uplift communities, and inspire future generations to believe in their own greatness. In conclusion, believing in yourself is the foundation of every success, the key to unlocking your unique purpose, and the fuel that drives progress even in the face of adversity. It empowers you to take action, pushing past fear and doubt and shapes not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. When you cultivate self-belief, you break free from limitations imposed by society or external voices, and you begin to recognize your true potential. Your actions reflect your inner convictions, and as you step boldly into your purpose, you inspire others to do the same. The ripple effect of self-belief extends beyond the individual, igniting hope, resilience, and empowerment in others. By choosing faith over fear and belief over doubt, you not only transform your own life, but also contribute to creating a world where everyone feels empowered to rise to their fullest potential. Today I want to speak to you about a powerful truth that lies within each and every one of us, the ability to rebuild ourselves. No matter how broken, lost, or defeated we may feel, we have within us the capacity to rise, to restore, and to transform into something greater than we were before. When we rebuild, the process is much more than just restoring what was lost. It is an opportunity to realign with a higher purpose, to reset our trajectory and construct a future that is in harmony with our true essence. Many people look at rebuilding as simply putting the pieces back together, but in truth, it's about aligning ourselves with something greater than we were before. In order to rebuild successfully, you must first understand your true purpose. Without purpose, the act of rebuilding is aimless. It becomes a mere exercise in fixing what was broken without addressing the deeper foundation that led to the fall in the first place. Purpose is like a blueprint. It provides the structure, the design, and the direction that your life needs. Without this essential blueprint, every effort you make in rebuilding is in danger of collapsing again. Just as a house without a solid foundation cannot stand, so too a life rebuilt without purpose is vulnerable to the same mistakes, weaknesses, and failures that brought it down before. Purpose is not just a nice idea, it's essential. It's the underlying reason behind every decision, every action, and every goal you set. If you don't know your purpose, you will continually rebuild on shaky ground. Purpose gives meaning to the entire rebuilding process. It transforms what would otherwise be a painful journey into an empowering one. Think about this. Without purpose, the challenges and setbacks we face in life can feel like arbitrary punishments. However, when you are connected to a purpose, those same challenges become stepping stones to something greater. Purpose reframes obstacles as opportunities for growth, for refinement, and for developing the resilience needed to achieve something significant. To understand the importance of aligning with purpose before you begin the process of rebuilding, consider this analogy. Imagine that you are constructing a building, but you don't have a clear blueprint. You may gather materials, hire workers, and start building, but without a clear design, you could end up with a structure that doesn't serve its intended function. Worse, it could collapse under its own weight. Similarly, rebuilding your life without purpose is like constructing without a design. You might succeed temporarily, but eventually, the lack of clear direction will catch up with you. When people face moments of crisis, failure, or setback, they often rush to rebuild their lives without first pausing to understand why things fell apart. They're eager to get back on their feet to regain what was lost, or to restore a sense of normalcy. However, this approach can be dangerous because it neglects the root cause of the breakdown. True rebuilding is not just about replacing what was broken or lost. It's about creating a life that is more aligned with who you are meant to be. It's about recognizing the gaps, the weaknesses, and the misalignments that existed before and addressing them in a meaningful way. Purpose allows you to see your life from a broader perspective. It helps you to recognize that rebuilding is not just about returning to where you were before, it's about moving forward to where you are meant to be. Many people fail to rebuild effectively because they are focused on the wrong goal. They are trying to restore a past that is no longer relevant to their growth or aligned with their higher calling. Purpose shifts your focus from restoration to transformation. It gives you the clarity to discern what should be rebuilt and what should be left behind. Purpose also brings stability during the rebuilding process. Without it, the journey of rebuilding can feel chaotic and overwhelming. Purpose anchors you. It gives you a sense of direction and confidence even when things seem uncertain or difficult. When you know your purpose, you are not easily swayed by setbacks, failures, or criticism, because you understand that every step you take is part of a larger plan. Purpose helps you navigate the complexities of life's rebuilding phases with a calm assurance that you are moving towards something meaningful. Moreover, purpose fuels perseverance. Rebuilding is rarely a quick or easy process. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to endure hardship. Without a clear purpose, many people give up too soon. They lose heart when the process becomes difficult, or they become distracted by temporary fixes and shortcuts. However, when you are connected to a higher purpose, you are willing to endure the challenges because you know that the outcome is worth it. Purpose gives you the strength to keep going when things get tough. It acts as a source of motivation, reminding you that the journey is not in vain and that the results of your efforts will ultimately be fulfilling. One of the most important aspects of purpose is that it provides clarity. When you know your purpose, decision-making becomes simpler. You are no longer pulled in different directions by conflicting priorities or external pressures. Your purpose acts as a filter, helping you to discern what is truly important and what is merely a distraction. This clarity is crucial during the rebuilding process, where there will inevitably be moments of uncertainty and doubt. Purpose helps you stay focused on what really matters, enabling you to rebuild in a way that is meaningful and sustainable. Purpose also fosters creativity during the rebuilding process. When you are aligned with your purpose, you are more open to new ideas, approaches, and solutions. You are not bound by the limitations of your past, but are instead inspired by the possibilities of your future. Purpose encourages you to think outside the box, to reimagine what your life can be, and to build something that is not only functional, but also beautiful and fulfilling. Before you begin the process of rebuilding your life, it is essential to first understand your purpose. Purpose provides the blueprint for your life, giving meaning, stability, perseverance, clarity, and creativity to the rebuilding process. Without purpose, every effort to rebuild is like constructing a house without a foundation. It may stand for a while, but it will not endure. Purpose ensures that your efforts are not in vain, that you are building something that will not only last, but will also align with the higher calling you are meant to fulfill. When we talk about rebuilding ourselves, it's easy to focus on external circumstances. We think about rebuilding our careers, our relationships, our finances, or our health. While these aspects are important, they are merely the visible layers of our lives. Real, lasting transformation doesn't begin with what's outside, it starts deep within. External situations may fall apart, but what will determine whether you rebuild successfully or not is the internal condition of your heart, mind, and spirit. The most significant rebuilding must take place on the inside. Many people believe that once they fix the external problems in their lives, they will feel whole again. They think, if I could just get a better job, repair my relationship, or solve this financial problem, I'd be back on track. While these things can provide temporary relief, they often miss the core issue. True transformation begins inside. The external things that break down in our lives are often reflections of the internal conflicts, limiting beliefs, and emotional wounds that we carry with us. Until we address those inner issues, any rebuilding on the outside will be short-lived. The inner transformation we need starts with how we think. Our mindset is the foundation of everything we do. The thoughts we hold about ourselves, our potential, and our future shape the actions we take. If you have been through a period of failure or loss, it's easy to develop a mindset of defeat. You may start to believe that success is out of reach, that you're destined to struggle, or that you're not capable of achieving more. These thoughts can silently undermine every effort you make to rebuild, even if you're working hard on the outside. To rebuild successfully, you must first rebuild your mind. You need to challenge the limiting beliefs that tell you you're not enough. You need to replace those thoughts with a mindset of possibility, resilience, and hope. A transformed mind sees opportunity in every setback. It embraces challenges as opportunities for growth. It refuses to be defined by the past and is driven by the belief that the future holds something greater. Changing your mindset requires conscious effort. It's not enough to simply think positive thoughts. You must actively confront the negative patterns that have taken root in your thinking. This may involve breaking free from old habits, letting go of past hurts, and surrounding yourself with new influences that uplift and inspire you. Rebuilding your mindset is like retraining a muscle. You have to be intentional about it every day. But as you begin to shift your thinking, you will find that your external circumstances naturally begin to change as well. Alongside the transformation of the mind, there must be a transformation of the heart. The heart represents your emotions, your values, and your sense of self-worth. Often when we go through difficult times, our hearts become hardened by pain, disappointment, and bitterness. We build emotional walls to protect ourselves from further hurt, but those walls also keep us from experiencing joy, love, and connection. If you want to rebuild your life, you must first heal your heart. Healing your heart doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing your pain. It means confronting it with courage and allowing yourself to process it. It means forgiving those who have wronged you, releasing the grudges you've held onto, and giving yourself permission to move on. Emotional wounds, if left untreated, can become deep-rooted obstacles to rebuilding. They affect how we interact with others, how we see ourselves, and how we approach the future. Healing is a process and it requires patience, but as your heart heals, you'll find that you're able to rebuild your life with greater strength and clarity. Rebuilding from the inside also means reconnecting with your inner spirit. The spirit is the source of your strength, your resilience, and your sense of purpose. It is the part of you that is connected to something greater than yourself, whether you call it faith, the universe, or your higher self. When your spirit is broken, it's easy to feel disconnected from life, to lose your sense of meaning, and to become overwhelmed by fear and doubt. But when your spirit is strong, it carries you through the toughest storms. Reconnecting with your spirit involves practices that nourish your inner being. This could be through prayer, meditation, spending time in nature, or engaging in activities that bring you joy and peace. It also involves surrounding yourself with people who uplift you and inspire you to grow. As you strengthen your spirit, you will begin to experience a deeper sense of inner peace, even in the midst of external challenges. A strong spirit can face adversity without being crushed by it. It allows you to stand tall, even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. What makes inner transformation so critical to the rebuilding process is that it is the foundation on which all external change is built. When you rebuild from the inside, you are no longer just reacting to life's circumstances. You are creating a life that is rooted in your inner strength, your higher purpose, and your authentic self. External change may be temporary, but inner transformation is lasting. It creates a new version of you, one that is equipped to handle whatever challenges come your way. As you rebuild your mind, heart, and spirit, you will begin to notice a shift in the way you approach life. You will find that you are no longer bound by the limitations of your past. You will stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start recognizing your power to create your future. The external rebuilding becomes easier, more meaningful, and more aligned with who you truly are, because it is a reflection of the inner transformation that has already taken place. True transformation begins on the inside. It starts with your mindset, your emotions, and your spirit. When you focus on rebuilding these internal aspects of yourself, the external rebuilding naturally follows. You become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of creating a life that is not just restored but transformed. The journey of rebuilding is not about fixing what is broken on the outside, it is about renewing what is within. When embarking on the journey of rebuilding yourself, one of the most significant hurdles to overcome is the belief that your past defines you. It's a common trap to fall into feeling like the mistakes, failures, and setbacks of yesterday are chains that bind you, limiting your potential and dictating your future. However, this perspective is not only disempowering, but fundamentally incorrect. You are not a victim of your past. Rather, you are a product of the choices you make today and the vision you hold for tomorrow. The past can indeed be a powerful force, shaping our experiences and influencing our emotions. We often carry forward the scars of past failures, disappointments, and traumas, allowing them to color our self-perception and outlook on life. It's easy to become ensnared in the belief that the circumstances of our past will forever dictate the quality of our lives. But this belief is a distortion of the truth. You are not defined by your past, you are defined by how you choose to respond to it. One of the most liberating realizations is that while you cannot change what has already happened, you have complete control over how you use those experiences to shape your future. The past is a series of events and choices that have already occurred. It is fixed and unchangeable. However, the present moment is where you hold the power to decide how you will move forward. The past may influence you, but it does not have to control you. Your future is shaped by your present choices, not by your past mistakes. Understanding this distinction is crucial for effective rebuilding. Many people find themselves stuck in a cycle of self-blame and regret, replaying past mistakes in their minds and allowing those regrets to dictate their actions. They may think, I failed before, so I will fail again, or my past mistakes make me unworthy of success. Such beliefs are crippling because they prevent you from seeing the possibilities that lie ahead. Breaking free from this mindset requires a conscious decision to let go of the past and to focus on the present as the gateway to your future. The notion that you are a victim of your past often stems from the way you internalize past experiences. It's not uncommon to see oneself as a victim of circumstances beyond their control. Yet every person has the capacity to reframe their experiences. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, recognize yourself as a learner, a warrior, and a creator. Your past experiences are not a sentence to live in limitation. They are lessons that provide insights and strength. Each setback is an opportunity to learn. Each failure a chance to grow. The real power lies in how you choose to use those lessons to build a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. To break free from the victim mentality, start by acknowledging the lessons learned from your past experiences. What did those experiences teach you about your strengths and weaknesses? How can those lessons inform the decisions you make today? By shifting your focus from the pain of the past to the growth it has facilitated, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. This shift in perspective allows you to reclaim your power and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and direction. Additionally, it's essential to practice self-compassion and forgiveness. Many people find it difficult to forgive themselves for past mistakes. They may hold onto guilt and shame, which can be paralyzing. Self-forgiveness is not about excusing past actions, but about recognizing that you are human, that you are capable of growth, and that your past does not define your worth. When you forgive yourself, you release the hold that past mistakes have on your present and future. This act of self-compassion is crucial for moving forward and rebuilding your life on a foundation of self-acceptance and possibility. It's also valuable to surround yourself with people who reinforce this empowering perspective. The influence of those around you can significantly impact how you view your past and your potential. Seek out individuals who uplift you, who believe in your capacity for change, and who encourage you to see beyond your past. Their support can help reinforce the belief that you are not bound by your history, but are free to shape your own future. Furthermore, setting new goals and pursuing new passions can be a powerful way to move beyond the shadow of your past. When you invest your energy in creating new experiences and achievements, you shift your focus from what has been lost or failed to what can be gained and accomplished. This forward momentum helps you build a new narrative for your life, one that is not constrained by past limitations, but is inspired by future possibilities. Ultimately, you must remember that your identity is not fixed by your past experiences, but is continually evolving through your actions, choices, and mindset. You have the power to redefine who you are and what you are capable of. The past is a chapter in your story, but it does not determine the entire narrative. By embracing this perspective, you empower yourself to rebuild with confidence, to create a future that reflects your true potential, and to live a life that is not limited by yesterday, but enriched by the lessons it has provided. In essence, to rebuild yourself effectively, you must let go of the victim mentality and embrace the truth that you are not defined by your past. You are the architect of your own future, and the choices you make today will shape the life you build. Rebuilding yourself is not a comfortable process. It's natural to want to avoid pain, to seek out comfort, and to stay within the bounds of what's familiar. However, growth and comfort cannot coexist. True transformation demands that you step out of your comfort zone and embrace the discomfort that comes with change. In fact, discomfort is often the clearest sign that you are growing and evolving. It is a necessary part of the journey toward becoming a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. When people think about rebuilding, they often imagine the end result a stronger, better, more fulfilled version of themselves. However, they may overlook the process it takes to get there. The process of rebuilding, much like the processes of construction, is messy, unpredictable, and often uncomfortable. Whether you're rebuilding your mindset, your emotional well-being, or your physical circumstances, you will encounter moments of uncertainty, doubt, and even pain. But it's in these moments of discomfort that the most profound growth happens. Discomfort is the result of stepping into the unknown. When you move beyond what you know, you challenge yourself to think, act, and believe in new ways. This can feel unsettling because it forces you to confront old habits, limiting beliefs, and deeply ingrained patterns that have kept you in a place of familiarity. It's tempting to retreat back to what's safe when faced with this discomfort, but doing so only delays your progress. The key to successful rebuilding is to lean into the discomfort, understanding that it is a necessary part of growth. Think of it like the process of breaking a bone. When a bone breaks, it goes through a painful healing process. But as the bone heals, it becomes stronger than it was before the break. Similarly, the discomfort you experience while rebuilding yourself is part of the healing process that will make you stronger. It's in those moments of difficulty that you develop resilience, patience, and inner strength qualities that are essential for long-term success and fulfillment. Without discomfort, there is no real growth. Often, discomfort arises when we are forced to confront parts of ourselves that we would rather avoid. This could be fear, self-doubt, or unresolved emotional wounds. It's easy to distract ourselves from these uncomfortable feelings by focusing on external tasks or escaping into distractions, but real growth requires facing these inner challenges head on. Discomfort reveals where your deepest growth is needed. Instead of running from it, see it as a guide, pointing you toward the areas where you need to develop strength, confidence, and self-awareness. Another key aspect of embracing discomfort is recognizing that it is temporary. Many people resist change because they are afraid of the discomfort it will bring. They fear the uncertainty of the process, the possibility of failure, or the pain of letting go of the familiar. However, discomfort is not a permanent state. It is part of a transition, a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. If you can endure the discomfort, you will eventually reach a place of greater strength, clarity, and fulfillment. The temporary discomfort of growth is far outweighed by the long-term rewards of transformation. One of the most powerful ways to embrace discomfort is by shifting your mindset. Instead of viewing discomfort as something negative, start to see it as a sign of progress. When you feel uncomfortable, it's a signal that you are pushing beyond your limits, that you are expanding your capacity, and that you are growing into a new version of yourself. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is a necessary companion on the journey to growth. By welcoming it instead of resisting it, you can move through the process of rebuilding with greater courage and resilience. Moreover, embracing discomfort allows you to develop a deeper sense of self-trust. When you willingly step into uncomfortable situations, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling adversity. Each time you push through a challenging moment, you build confidence in your ability to overcome obstacles. Over time, you begin to trust yourself more fully, knowing that you have the inner resources to face whatever comes your way. This self-trust is invaluable as you rebuild your life, because it gives you the confidence to take risks, pursue new opportunities, and continue growing even when the path is difficult. Discomfort also brings clarity. In the midst of discomfort, you are forced to confront what truly matters to you. The things that are unnecessary or unimportant tend to fall away when you are focused on navigating a challenge. Discomfort refines your priorities, helping you to see what is worth fighting for and what can be left behind. It sharpens your focus and motivates you to pursue the things that bring true meaning and fulfillment to your life. It's important to remember that the discomfort you experience while rebuilding yourself is not a punishment or a sign that you are doing something wrong. On the contrary, it's a sign that you are on the right track. If rebuilding were easy, everyone would do it. But it is the willingness to endure discomfort that sets apart those who truly transform from those who remain stuck. The discomfort you feel is not a barrier to your growth. It is the path to your growth. Every time you face discomfort with courage and persistence, you take another step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Finally, it's worth noting that while discomfort is part of growth, it does not mean you have to face it alone. Surround yourself with people who support you, who encourage you to keep going when things get tough, and who remind you of your strength when you start to doubt yourself. The journey of rebuilding is challenging, but it is made easier when you have a community of people who believe in your potential and who understand the discomfort you are facing. In summary, embracing discomfort is an essential part of the process of rebuilding yourself. Growth requires stepping out of your comfort zone and confronting the challenges that come with change. Discomfort is not a sign of failure, but a sign of progress. It is a temporary state that leads to lasting transformation, inner strength, and greater fulfillment. By leaning into discomfort, you allow yourself to grow into the best version of yourself, knowing that the temporary pain of growth will lead to a life of deeper meaning and purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, believers and children of the kingdom, I come to you today with a sobering truth that demands our attention. As Christians, we are heirs to the throne of heaven. We are the sons and daughters of the King of Kings. Yet too many of us live below our inheritance, struggling in poverty, wrestling with lack, and finding ourselves in financial bondage. This is not the will of God. Today, I want to talk about 7 reasons why most Christians are poor. One of the primary reasons many Christians remain poor is the lack of knowledge regarding financial stewardship. The Bible is rich with wisdom about managing money, yet many believers are unaware of these principles, or they fail to apply them in their daily lives. Scripture provides a roadmap to financial success, but without knowledge and understanding of these divine principles, even the most faithful Christian can struggle financially. The lack of practical knowledge regarding finances causes many to miss out on the abundance that God intends for his people. In Hosea 4:6, God says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." This is true not only in spiritual matters, but also in the practical affairs of life, including finances. Many Christians are not taught how to handle money wisely. Churches often focus on spiritual growth, which is essential, but neglect the practical aspects of financial education. Sermons on tithing may be common, but teaching about saving, investing, budgeting, and debt management is rare. As a result, Christians often find themselves in financial difficulty, not because they lack faith, but because they lack understanding of financial principles. God created natural laws, like the law of gravity, that operate whether we are aware of them or not. Similarly, he established financial laws that govern wealth, such as sowing and reaping, stewardship and diligence. Ignoring these principles leads to financial lack. For example, the parable of the talents in Matthew 25 reveals that God expects us to multiply what he gives us, yet many Christians fail to develop the mindset of growth and multiplication. Instead, they consume everything they receive without saving or investing for the future, which leads to a cycle of poverty. The Bible emphasizes the importance of wisdom and knowledge when it comes to finances. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." This verse speaks directly to the concept of saving and planning for the future. However, without proper financial education, many Christians live paycheck to paycheck with no savings or investments to secure their future. Ignorance of how to handle wealth, or even the small resources they have, keeps many believers in financial bondage. The lack of financial knowledge extends beyond personal finances to a misunderstanding of economic systems, investments, and wealth creation. Many Christians are unaware of how to invest, how to start businesses, or how to build streams of income beyond their jobs. This ignorance keeps them dependent on a single source of income, which limits their ability to create wealth. Another significant reason many Christians remain poor is due to a misinterpretation of Scripture. While the Bible is often quoted and referenced, it is not always understood in its proper context, especially when it comes to teachings about money, wealth, and prosperity. This misunderstanding leads to false beliefs that hinder financial success and create a mentality that glorifies poverty. One of the most commonly misinterpreted verses is 1 Timothy 6:10, which says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." Unfortunately, this verse is often misquoted as money is the root of all evil, leading many Christians to develop a negative view of wealth itself. This misinterpretation of Scripture causes a fear of wealth, as though having money or pursuing financial success is inherently sinful or contrary to spiritual growth. In reality, the Bible does not condemn wealth. It condemns the love of money when it leads to greed, corruption, and moral compromise. Money in itself is neutral, it is a tool. How it is used depends on the heart of the individual. Abraham, David, and Solomon were all wealthy men who were also deeply committed to God. Yet, in many Christian circles, wealth is viewed as something to be avoided rather than something to be stewarded wisely for the advancement of God's kingdom. Another common misinterpretation is the belief that poverty is a sign of holiness or spiritual maturity. Some Christians have been taught that suffering lack is a virtue, as though financial struggle is evidence of faith. While it is true that the Bible calls us to be content in every circumstance, contentment does not mean accepting poverty as God's will. Philippians 4:12-13 speaks of being content whether in plenty or empty or in want, but that is not a command to remain in poverty. Rather, it is an instruction to trust God's provision in every season while still pursuing His plans for prosperity. This false dichotomy between spirituality and financial success leads many believers to reject opportunities for wealth creation, fearing that it may compromise their relationship with God. Instead of seeing wealth as a resource for good, they associate it with worldliness or greed. This mindset prevents many Christians from seeking financial wisdom or taking steps toward abundance, leaving them stuck in a cycle of lack, despite God's promises of provision and prosperity for His people. Another critical factor contributing to the poverty of many Christians is a religious mindset that emphasizes spirituality while neglecting the practical aspects of life, including wealth creation and financial responsibility. In many churches, there is a strong focus on prayer, faith, and spiritual growth, which are indeed vital to the Christian walk. However, this often comes at the expense of addressing the practical, earthly realities that also matter to God. Some Christians have been conditioned to believe that focusing on finances is unspiritual or worldly, leading to an unhealthy separation between their faith and the practicalities of life, especially when it comes to money. This religious mindset can foster an unhealthy dependency on miracles rather than principles. Many believers live with the expectation that God will miraculously provide for their financial needs without any effort or responsibility on their part. While it is true that God is a provider and can work miracles, His primary way of blessing us is through principles such as the principle of hard work, diligence, and wise stewardship. Proverbs 10:4 says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." Yet, many Christians focus solely on praying for a financial breakthrough while neglecting the practical work that is required to bring that blessing into reality. Furthermore, some Christians fall into the trap of believing that their sole focus should be on the afterlife, neglecting the significance of their time on earth. This mindset is reflected in phrases like "I'm just passing through" or "my treasure is in heaven," which, while true in a spiritual sense, can create a lack of urgency to engage with the practical challenges of life, including financial stability. God did not place us on earth to ignore the responsibilities that come with living in this world. Jesus Himself said, "Occupy until I come," Luke 19:13, implying that we are to engage in productive work and stewardship while we await His return. This over-spiritualization often results in Christians seeing wealth as a distraction from the spiritual walk, rather than as a tool for advancing God's kingdom on earth. Financial success is seen by some as something that could lead to pride or compromise, so they avoid pursuing it altogether. However, the Bible is clear that wealth, when used wisely, can be a powerful instrument for good. In Ecclesiastes 7:12, it says, "Wisdom is a shelter as money is a shelter. But the advantage of knowledge is this wisdom preserves those who have it." Both wisdom and wealth are tools that, when properly managed, serve God's purposes. Without a balanced understanding of these principles, many Christians remain financially limited, thinking that material prosperity is incompatible with spiritual growth. This religious mindset also influences the way some Christians view their careers, businesses, and professional development. Instead of seeing their work as part of their calling, they compartmentalize their spiritual life from their secular life, failing to realize that God calls them to be excellent in all areas, including their financial affairs. Colossians 3:23 tells us, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." Excellence in the marketplace or in managing finances is as much a part of worship as prayer or church attendance. But when a religious mindset separates the sacred from the secular, Christians may miss out on the full blessing God has for them in their financial lives. Another reason many Christians remain poor is their failure to develop the gifts and talents that God has placed within them. Every individual is born with unique abilities, talents, and skills that, when nurtured and applied, can lead to success and prosperity. However, too often Christians overlook or underutilize these God-given resources, waiting instead for supernatural interventions while ignoring the practical responsibility of cultivating their own potential. This neglect of talent development leads to financial stagnation and missed opportunities for growth. In the parable of the talents found in Matthew 25:14-30, Jesus makes it clear that God expects his people to invest and multiply the resource he has entrusted to them. In the story, a master gives 3 servants varying amounts of money, expecting them to produce a return on what they were given. The first 2 servants worked diligently, doubling their amounts. But the 3rd servant, out of fear, buried his talent in the ground. When the master returned, he praised the first 2 for their faithfulness and productivity, but rebuked the 3rd for his laziness and poor stewardship. This parable illustrates a profound truth. God rewards those who diligently develop and use what they have been given, but those who do nothing with their talents will lose even the little they have. Many Christians, like the 3rd servant, fail to recognize the potential in their abilities. They either downplay their gifts, believing they are insignificant, or they never take the time to develop them into marketable skills. God has placed within each person the ability to create, innovate, and bring value to the world. These gifts, when refined, can open doors to opportunities, financial growth, and influence. However, neglecting or underestimating these talents leads to financial lack and a sense of unfulfillment. In addition to ignoring their talents, some Christians have a tendency to spiritualize their lack of action, believing that waiting on God means doing nothing. But the Bible clearly states that God blesses the work of our hands. Proverbs 22:29 says, "Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will serve before kings, he will not serve before obscure men." This verse underscores the importance of honing one's skills and talents, as excellence leads to opportunities and prosperity. God does not reward idleness, he rewards initiative, hard work, and creativity. Moreover, many Christians fail to invest in personal development, whether through education, learning new skills, or seeking mentorship. In today's rapidly changing world, success often requires continuous learning and adaptation. But too many Christians remain in their comfort zones, relying solely on their existing abilities or past knowledge without seeking to improve. This complacency can limit their potential and their capacity to create wealth. The Bible teaches that iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17, highlighting the importance of growth and learning from others. By not pursuing personal and professional development, many believers miss out on opportunities to increase their earning potential and contribute more meaningfully to society. The failure to develop God-given gifts is not just a matter of personal loss, it is also a failure to fulfill the larger calling to impact the world for God's kingdom. When Christians fail to cultivate their talents, they limit their ability to influence the marketplace, society, and culture. They reduce their capacity to create wealth, which could be used to support the work of the church, help the poor, and fund kingdom initiatives. Thus, this neglect not only leads to personal poverty, but also hinders the broader mission of advancing God's purposes on earth. Developing one's gifts is not just about personal success, it is about fulfilling God's plan for stewardship and influence. Another major reason many Christians remain poor is the lack of financial education. While faith is central to a Christian's life, many believers do not receive practical training in managing their finances, resulting in poor decisions and missed opportunities for financial growth. The Bible emphasizes the importance of wisdom and knowledge in all areas, including money management, yet this practical aspect is often neglected. Financial literacy, the ability to understand how money works, how to budget, save, invest, and manage debt, is a key component of breaking the cycle of poverty. Without it, even the most devout Christian can find themselves struggling financially. Proverbs 4:7 declares, "Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding." Unfortunately, many Christians are unaware of or ignore the wisdom needed to manage their financial resources effectively. While they may have a heart for generosity or a desire to tithe, they often do so without a solid financial foundation. For instance, some may give beyond their means, not understanding the necessity of budgeting or saving, which results in a cycle of giving but lacking the financial freedom God desires for them. One key area where financial education is lacking is in understanding the difference between good and bad debt. Many Christians fall into the trap of accumulating credit card debt or taking out loans they cannot afford without fully understanding the long-term consequences. The Bible warns against debt in Proverbs 22:7, which says, "The borrower is slave to the lender yet." Due to a lack of financial education, many believers find themselves in financial bondage, struggling to pay off debt and unable to build wealth. With proper financial knowledge, Christians could avoid unnecessary debt and learn to manage credit wisely, ensuring that they are not enslaved by their financial obligations. Investing is another area where financial education is sorely needed. Many Christians are not taught how to grow their money through investments, whether in stocks, real estate, or other financial instruments. Instead, they rely solely on their regular income, missing out on opportunities to create multiple streams of income. The Bible encourages multiplication of resources, as seen in the parable of the talents, where the faithful servants were rewarded for increasing what they had been given. Lack of understanding in this area causes many believers to live paycheck to paycheck rather than growing their resources over time. Moreover, many Christians do not have a plan for retirement or emergencies, often because they have not been taught how to save effectively. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." This verse emphasizes the importance of saving for the future. Yet many believers live without a financial cushion, leaving them vulnerable to unexpected crises or economic downturns. A lack of savings can also prevent Christians from seizing opportunities for investment or business growth, further perpetuating financial struggle. The absence of basic financial education also impacts families. Many Christian parents are unable to pass on sound financial principles to their children, resulting in generational cycles of poor money management. Teaching children about budgeting, saving, and investing from a young age can set them up for future financial success. Yet this is rarely prioritized in many households. Without financial literacy, the next generation inherits not only spiritual guidance but also financial ignorance, continuing the pattern of poverty. Ultimately, financial education is crucial for breaking the cycle of poverty and stepping into the abundance God intends for His people. Christians who are equipped with knowledge about budgeting, investing, managing debt, and saving are empowered to make wise financial decisions that lead to prosperity. While faith and trust in God are foundational, practical knowledge about finances is equally important for achieving financial freedom and stewarding resources effectively for God's kingdom. Another significant reason many Christians remain poor is due to a poor work ethic, rooted in the misconception that faith alone will lead to financial prosperity without the need for hard work. While faith is essential, the Bible consistently teaches that God blesses the work of our hands, not idleness. Some Christians mistakenly believe that if they pray enough or have enough faith, financial blessings will simply appear. However, this belief neglects the biblical principle that success, including financial success, requires effort, diligence, and hard work. James 2:17 makes it clear that faith without works is dead. This passage emphasizes that while faith is the foundation, it must be accompanied by action. Too many Christians misunderstand this and assume that merely praying for financial provision or miracles will bring about prosperity without doing their part. They overlook that God has created principles of work and diligence that must be followed. In Genesis, even before the fall, God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it, Genesis 2:15. This was not a curse, but a divine mandate, showing that productive work is a part of God's plan for humanity. Additionally, many Christians misinterpret the idea of waiting on God as a passive exercise, assuming that success will come without any contribution on their part. But biblical waiting involves preparation, action, and readiness to seize opportunities. Proverbs 14:23 teaches, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Those who speak about success but fail to take the necessary steps, whether it's improving skills, seeking opportunities, or putting effort into a job or business, are likely to remain in a state of financial lack. Furthermore, a lack of ambition or motivation can also stem from this poor work ethic. Some believers have adopted a mindset that aiming for success or financial growth is selfish or unspiritual. They may believe that since God is their provider, they should be content with little, or that pursuing financial goals is contrary to a life of humility. However, this mindset fails to acknowledge that God rewards diligence and excellence. In Colossians 3:23, the Apostle Paul encourages believers, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. This verse reminds Christians that their work, when done with dedication and integrity, is a form of worship, and God honors those who give their best. Another aspect of poor work ethic is procrastination or avoidance of difficult tasks. Some Christians may neglect to pursue higher education, professional development, or entrepreneurial ventures because they require long-term effort or seem challenging. But Proverbs 6:11 speaks strongly against laziness, using the example of the ant, which works diligently to prepare for the future. The Bible warns that a lazy attitude leads to poverty, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. The warning here is clear: avoiding work, delaying action, or refusing to put in the necessary effort results in financial struggles. Moreover, many Christians rely on the belief that God will provide everything without considering that God works through processes, systems, and human action. The parable of the talents teaches that God expects a return on what he has entrusted to us, and that requires work. Those who put in the effort to invest and multiply their resources were praised, while the one who buried his talent out of fear and inactivity was rebuked. This demonstrates that inactivity and a lack of diligence are not rewarded by God. A strong work ethic reflects the biblical principle that man is designed to be productive and responsible. Christians who neglect this responsibility and expect blessings without effort may find themselves continually facing financial difficulties. A mindset of laziness or entitlement, waiting for God to provide without acting, contradicts the Scripture's call to work diligently, seize opportunities, and multiply what God has given. It is through hard work paired with faith that Christians can break the cycle of poverty and step into the financial provision that God has in store for them. Another reason many Christians remain poor is their lack of vision and long-term planning. Without a clear vision for the future and a plan to achieve it, financial success becomes difficult, if not impossible. The Bible is explicit about the importance of having a vision and setting goals. Proverbs 29:18 states, where there is no vision, the people perish. This applies to all areas of life, including finances. Many Christians operate on a day-to-day basis, focusing on immediate needs rather than creating a vision for financial prosperity and establishing practical steps to reach it. This short-term thinking leads to a cycle of financial struggle, as there is no clear roadmap for growth Vision is not just about having a dream or hope for the future. It involves setting specific, measurable goals and working toward them consistently. Without this, Christians are more likely to live reactively, responding to financial crises as they arise rather than proactively building wealth. A lack of planning often manifests in poor financial habits, such as failing to budget, save, or invest. While many Christians may have the desire to prosper without a defined strategy, their actions remain unfocused, and as a result, they fail to achieve their financial goals. Long-term financial planning is essential for creating stability and security. The Bible speaks of the importance of preparation and planning in Luke 14:28, where Jesus says, "For which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it?" This principle applies directly to financial matters. Many Christians fail to count the cost when it comes to their financial decisions, whether it's purchasing a home, starting a business, or even saving for retirement. Without a clear financial plan, they may find themselves overwhelmed by debt or ill-prepared for future needs. A lack of vision also impacts how Christians approach opportunities. Without a long-term view, many believers miss opportunities for investment, entrepreneurship, or career advancement because they are focused on immediate needs rather than future potential. For instance, someone may be reluctant to invest in further education or a business venture because they see it as too costly in the short term, not realizing the long-term benefits it could bring. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." Without vision and diligent planning, financial decisions are often made hastily, based on short-term emotions or needs, which can lead to poverty. Additionally, many Christians fail to think generationally. The Bible encourages believers to leave an inheritance for their children and future generations, Proverbs 13:22. However, without a long-term vision, many Christians focus only on getting by in the present, neglecting the importance of building wealth that can be passed down to future generations. This lack of generational vision means that each generation starts from scratch, perpetuating a cycle of poverty rather than building upon the successes of the previous one. Christians with a vision for generational wealth would be more likely to make decisions that benefit their descendants, such as purchasing assets, investing wisely, and saving diligently. Vision is also tied to the concept of stewardship. God calls his people to be good stewards of the resources he has entrusted to them. This involves planning for the future and making wise decisions with a view toward long-term growth and stability. Without a vision for how to manage and multiply what they have, many Christians fail to steward their finances effectively, leading to waste and missed opportunities. Luke 16:10 reminds us, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." Having a financial vision and a plan demonstrates responsible stewardship and opens the door for greater blessings. In conclusion, a lack of vision and long-term planning keeps many Christians in financial poverty. Without clear goals and a roadmap for achieving them, it is easy to fall into a cycle of short-term thinking, poor financial habits, and missed opportunities. God has given his people the wisdom and capacity to plan for the future. And it is through this planning that financial success is achieved. Vision creates direction, motivates action, and ultimately leads to prosperity when combined with faith, diligence, and responsible stewardship. Thank you for all of you. May you live long. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I greet you with a heart filled with humility and gratitude, acknowledging that each one of us has walked through the valleys of life, experiencing both joy and pain. As we gather today, there is a subject we must confront, one that touches us all, whether we admit it openly or carry it in silence. That subject is the matter of hurt, betrayal, And the people who wound us, you see, no matter who you are, no matter your background, no matter your status or position, at some point in your life, someone will hurt you. It's not a question of if, but when. Now, the hurt might come in many forms. Perhaps it was a friend you trusted, someone you opened your heart to, only to find them betraying that trust in ways you never imagined. Or maybe it was a family member who should have protected you, but instead inflicted wounds that still linger to this day. Perhaps it was a colleague, a business partner, someone you relied on, but they let you down when you needed them the most. The truth is, hurt is inevitable in this journey we call life. But what is not inevitable is our response to that hurt. Too often, when we are wronged, our natural instinctual response is to seek revenge. We want to get even. We want the person who caused us pain to feel the same, if not more, pain than what we experienced. We want justice on our terms. And why wouldn't we? After all, isn't it natural to want to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves from those who wronged us? Isn't it natural to strike back when we've been hurt? But my dear friends, I want to challenge that mindset today. I want to suggest to you that the greatest revenge is not retaliation. It is not seeking to cause harm or inflict pain on those who hurt you. The greatest revenge is something far deeper, far more transformative, and far more powerful than any act of vengeance you could ever undertake. The greatest revenge, my friends, is personal growth. It is becoming the best version of yourself in the face of hurt. It is choosing to rise above the pain, to transcend the bitterness, and to walk boldly in the direction of your purpose, regardless of what has been done to you. Now, before we can fully understand this, we must first grasp an essential truth about life. You see, each one of us is born with a purpose, a destiny that is uniquely ours. There is something that you and only you are called to do on this earth. There is a unique contribution that only you can make, a purpose that only you can fulfill. And here is the reality. When you begin to walk in the direction of that purpose, when you begin to pursue your calling with passion and determination, there will be opposition. There will be challenges. And yes, there will be people who, whether intentionally or unintentionally, will try to derail you. They may criticize you, they may betray you, they may try to undermine your progress. But understand this, those very challenges, those very betrayals, those very hurts that you experience can serve a higher purpose in your life if you allow them to. You see, pain, my friends, can either be a prison or a teacher. The choice is yours. Many people, when they are hurt, become prisoners of their pain. They allow the offense to define them. They allow the betrayal to consume them. They carry the weight of bitterness and resentment, letting it shape their actions, their decisions, and ultimately their lives. They become stuck, trapped in a cycle of anger and revenge, never able to move forward, never able to experience the fullness of life that awaits them. But there is another way. You can choose to let pain be your teacher. You can choose to let the hurt you have experienced refine you, strengthen you, and propel you toward your destiny. When you choose this path, you are not denying the reality of your pain. You are not pretending that the hurt didn't happen. But you are making a conscious decision not to allow that pain to define you. Instead, you are using it as fuel, as motivation to become the person you were always meant to be. Let me illustrate this with an analogy. Think of a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, it is buried beneath the soil, covered in darkness, unable to see the light. But in that dark place, something extraordinary begins to happen. The seed begins to grow. It pushes through the soil, reaching toward the light, and eventually it becomes a tree bearing fruit that nourishes others. The seed's journey was not easy, but it was necessary for it to fulfill its purpose. So too, in our lives, the darkness of hurt and betrayal can be the very thing that propels us toward growth if we choose to respond in the right way. The people who hurt you the situations that cause you pain are not the end of your story. They are simply part of the process, part of the journey that will ultimately lead you to where you are meant to be. Now, let me be clear about something. I am not suggesting that you should simply ignore the pain you've experienced. I am not saying that you should pretend as though nothing happened. That is not forgiveness, nor is it growth. True growth begins with acknowledgement. It begins with facing the hurt head on, recognizing the pain for what it is, and then making a conscious decision to rise above it. And here's where we must talk about forgiveness, a word that is often misunderstood. Many people think that to forgive someone is to excuse their behavior, to act as though the hurt they caused doesn't matter. But that is not forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about you. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of bitterness and resentment that keep you bound to the past. When you forgive, you are not saying what you did to me was okay. You are saying what you did to me no longer has the power to control my life. Forgiveness, my friends, is not for the weak, it is for the strong. It takes strength to release the anger, the bitterness, the desire for revenge. It takes strength to choose peace over retaliation. But when you forgive, you are not just freeing the other person, you are freeing yourself. You are breaking the chains that have kept you bound, and you are stepping into a place of healing, a place of growth, a place of purpose. Now, I know that some of you may be thinking, but they don't deserve my forgiveness. They hurt me too deeply. They betrayed me too greatly, and you may be right. They may not deserve your forgiveness. But here's the truth: forgiveness is not about what they deserve. It's about what you deserve. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom. You deserve to live your life without carrying the weight of someone else's actions on your shoulders. When you refuse to forgive, you are not punishing the person who hurt you, you are punishing yourself. You are allowing their actions to continue to have power over you long after the initial hurt occurred. So my friends, I urge you today, release it. Release the bitterness, release the anger, release the need for revenge. Choose instead to focus on your own growth, your own healing, your own purpose. The best revenge is not to hurt the person who hurt you, it is to live a life so full of purpose, so full of joy, so full of success, that their actions become irrelevant. It is to rise so far above the situation that their betrayal no longer has any power over you. Let me share with you a powerful truth. When you focus on your growth, when you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, something extraordinary begins to happen. The opinions, the actions, the betrayals of others begin to fade into the background. They lose their power. They no longer have the ability to affect your peace, your joy, your purpose. You become so focused on your own journey, your own growth, that the actions of others no longer matter. You see, growth is a powerful thing. It is transformative. When you choose to grow, when you choose to rise above the hurt, you begin to see the world differently. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to see lessons where others see failures. You begin to see growth where others see pain. And as you grow, you become stronger, wiser, more resilient. You become the person you were always meant to be. But here's the key: growth is not passive. It does not happen by accident. It requires intentionality. It requires a conscious decision to rise above the pain, to let go of the hurt, and to focus on your own journey. It requires discipline, perseverance, and a willingness to learn from every experience, even the painful ones. Now, let me be honest with you, this is not an easy path. It is not easy to choose growth over bitterness. It is not easy to forgive those who have hurt you. It is not easy to let go of the desire for revenge. But it is the only path that leads to true freedom. It is the only path that leads to true peace. It is the only path that leads to true success. Too many people, when they are hurt, allow that hurt to define them. They allow the actions of others to dictate their future. They become consumed by the desire for revenge, and in doing so, they lose sight of their purpose. They lose sight of their own growth. They lose sight of the fact that the greatest revenge is not to destroy those who hurt you, but to elevate yourself beyond the reach of their actions. When you focus on your own growth, when you commit to becoming the best version of yourself, you begin to realize something profound. The people who hurt you, the situations that cause you pain, no longer have the power to stop you. In fact, they become part of the fuel that propels you forward. The very things that were meant to destroy you become the things that strengthen you. The very people who tried to tear you down become the reason you rise higher than you ever imagined. But here's the beautiful part: as you grow, as you rise, you will find that you no longer need revenge. You no longer need to see the person who hurt you suffer. You no longer need to hold on to the bitterness, the anger, the desire for retaliation. You are too focused on your own journey, too focused on your own purpose, too focused on the incredible future that awaits you. There is a powerful story in ancient scripture about a man named Joseph. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and left for dead. He endured years of hardship, suffering, and betrayal. But Joseph never allowed the actions of others to define him. He never allowed the hurt he experienced to consume him. Instead, he chose to focus on his growth. He chose to rise above the pain. And in the end, the very people who betrayed him were the ones who bowed before him as he rose to a position of power and influence. Joseph's story is a powerful example of what happens when we choose to respond to hurt with growth. It is not that Joseph sought revenge. It is not that he sought to prove anything to his brothers. No, Joseph's growth, his success, his elevation was enough. It was the ultimate revenge, not because it destroyed his brothers, but because it elevated him to a place where their actions no longer mattered. This is the path we must walk, my friends. The path of growth, the path of purpose, the path of rising above. When we focus on our own growth, when we commit to becoming the best version of ourselves, we no longer need revenge. We no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Our growth, our success, our peace becomes the ultimate testament to our strength, our resilience, our purpose. So, my dear friends, I encourage you today, let go of the need for revenge. Let go of the bitterness, the anger, the resentment. Choose instead to focus on your growth, your healing, your purpose. Choose to rise above the hurt, to transcend the pain, and to walk boldly in the direction of your destiny. The best revenge is not to hurt those who hurt you, but to live a life so full of purpose, so full of joy, so full of success that their actions become irrelevant. This is the path to true freedom. This is the path to true peace. This is the path to true success. And it is a path that is available to each and every one of you if you choose to walk it. Today, I invite you to explore a profound yet often overlooked practice, the power of silence. In our fast-paced world, where voices constantly compete for attention, embracing silence might seem counterintuitive. However, it is precisely in moments of quiet that we find clarity, wisdom, and profound strength. Let us delve into 5 situations where mastering the art of silence can transform our lives. Firstly, in the midst of conflict. In the midst of conflict, when emotions are charged and arguments seem to spiral out of control, the practice of silence can be an invaluable tool. Conflict, by its very nature, brings out strong emotions and can often cloud our judgment. In these heated moments, when voices are raised and tempers are frayed, the instinct to react impulsively can be overwhelming. However, choosing silence instead of engaging in a heated exchange offers a powerful opportunity to de-escalate the situation and gain a clearer perspective. When we find ourselves in the midst of conflict, our immediate action might be to defend our position or counter the arguments presented by the other party. This knee-jerk response is often driven by a need to be heard or to assert our own validity. However, engaging in this way can escalate tensions, deepen misunderstandings, and contribute to a cycle of argument that is hard to break. By choosing silence, we create a pause, a moment to step back and gather our thoughts before responding. Silence in conflict is not about passive withdrawal or avoiding the issue at hand. Rather, it is a deliberate choice to withhold immediate reactions and to allow space for both parties to cool down. This pause in communication provides an opportunity for reflection, helping us to reassess the situation from a more objective standpoint. When emotions are high, our ability to think clearly and communicate effectively is often compromised. Silence gives us the chance to regain composure and approach the situation with a renewed sense of clarity and calm. Additionally, silence can act as a powerful non-verbal signal of respect and restraint. By not immediately countering an argument or adding fuel to the fire, we demonstrate a level of self-control and consideration for the other person's perspective. This can help to reduce the intensity of the conflict and foster a more constructive dialogue. In many cases, the act of pausing can encourage the other party to also take a step back, creating a more conducive environment for resolving the issue at hand. Moreover, silence allows for the reflection on underlying issues that may be contributing to the conflict. Often, arguments are not just about the surface level disagreement, but are rooted in deeper emotional or psychological concerns. By remaining silent, we provide ourselves with the opportunity to think about these underlying issues and to consider how they might be addressed in a more thoughtful and empathetic manner. This deeper understanding can lead to more effective and meaningful resolutions, rather than merely addressing the symptoms of the conflict. In practical terms, implementing silence during conflict means resisting the urge to immediately respond or react. It involves consciously choosing not to speak or engage in the heat of the moment. This practice requires discipline and self-awareness, but can ultimately lead to more constructive outcomes. Silence in conflict is about pausing, reflecting, and choosing a path that promotes understanding and resolution over escalation. The power of silence in conflict lies in its ability to create a space for thoughtful engagement rather than reactionary outbursts. It allows us to approach disagreements with a calm and measured perspective, fostering an environment where resolution is more achievable. By embracing silence during these challenging moments, we not only contribute to a more harmonious and respectful interaction, but also enhance our own ability to navigate conflict with greater wisdom and effectiveness. When you don't have all the facts, silence is an essential practice that helps maintain the integrity and accuracy of communication. In a world where information flows rapidly and opinions are often formed on incomplete or misleading data, it is crucial to recognize the limits of our knowledge. Speaking out or taking a stance without a comprehensive understanding of the facts can lead to misinformation, misunderstandings, and unintended consequences. In situations where information is incomplete or uncertain, silence serves as a valuable pause, allowing us to refrain from making premature judgments or statements. When we choose to speak without having all the necessary details, we risk perpetuating inaccuracies and contributing to the spread of half-truths. Silence in these moments is a safeguard against the pitfalls of misinformation, ensuring that we do not contribute to the confusion or distortion of facts. Choosing silence when we lack information also demonstrates humility and a willingness to seek out more knowledge before forming conclusions. It reflects an understanding that our perspective is limited and that we should strive to gather more comprehensive information before voicing opinions or making decisions. This approach fosters a culture of thoughtful and informed dialogue rather than one driven by speculation or conjecture. Additionally, silence when we are not fully informed allows for a more thoughtful and deliberate process of learning. Instead of rushing to fill the void with uninformed commentary, we can use the time to seek out reliable sources, verify details, and gain a deeper understanding of the subject at hand. This thoughtful approach not only enhances our own knowledge, but also contributes to more accurate and constructive discussions. Moreover, when we are silent in the face of incomplete information, we respect the complexity of the issues at hand. Many topics and situations are multifaceted, and understanding them fully often requires time and careful consideration. By remaining silent, we acknowledge the complexity and refrain from oversimplifying or misrepresenting the matter. This respect for complexity helps prevent the dissemination of misleading or incomplete narratives and promotes a more nuanced and informed perspective. Silence in the absence of complete facts also fosters an environment where others feel encouraged to share their knowledge and insights. When we refrain from speaking prematurely, we create space for more knowledgeable voices to contribute to the conversation. This collaborative approach enhances the quality of the discussion and ensures that a broader range of perspectives is considered. In practice, embracing silence when we do not have all the facts means resisting the urge to immediately comment or offer opinions. It involves acknowledging our current limitations and opting to listen, learn, and reflect before engaging in discourse. This discipline requires patience and self-awareness, but ultimately leads to more informed and meaningful contributions. By valuing silence in the face of incomplete information, we uphold the principles of accuracy, humility, and respect. It allows us to engage more thoughtfully with complex issues and to contribute to discussions in a manner that is informed and constructive. Embracing this practice not only enhances our own understanding, but also supports a culture of thoughtful and well-informed dialogue. During other success, practicing silence can be a powerful and respectful choice that fosters positive relationships and enhances our own sense of humility. Success is often a deeply personal and significant achievement for those who experience it, and it represents a culmination of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. In these moments, our silence can serve as a gesture of support and recognition, allowing the individual's accomplishments to be celebrated without overshadowing their achievement with our own responses or remarks. When others are experiencing success, they are often in a moment of personal or professional triumph. This is their time to shine, and our response should ideally reflect a genuine appreciation for their achievements. By choosing silence, we avoid making the situation about ourselves or introducing our own experiences or accomplishments into the conversation. Instead, we offer space for their success to be acknowledged and celebrated in its own right. Silence during others' success also conveys respect and admiration. It shows that we value their achievements and understand the significance of their moment. This respectful approach can strengthen our relationships by demonstrating that we are supportive and appreciative of their efforts. It allows the celebratory atmosphere to remain focused on the person who has achieved success, fostering goodwill and positive connections. Furthermore, our silence in these moments can serve as an opportunity for introspection and personal growth. Observing and acknowledging others' successes without immediately seeking to draw attention to our own experiences can be a chance to reflect on our own goals and aspirations. It allows us to focus on what we can learn from their success and how we can apply those lessons to our own lives. In practical terms, choosing silence when others succeed involves being mindful of our responses and refraining from redirecting the conversation to ourselves. This might mean resisting the urge to compare their achievements to our own, or to shift the focus to our own experiences. Instead, we can express our congratulations and allow the conversation to center on their success. This practice not only respects their achievements, but also contributes to a more positive and supportive environment. Additionally, silence during others' successes can also prevent the potential for envy or competitive feelings. When we remain silent, we create a space free from comparisons or judgments, focusing instead on genuine admiration and support. This approach helps to build a culture of encouragement and collaboration, rather than one driven by competition or rivalry. By embracing silence in these moments, we practice humility and foster a sense of community. We acknowledge that their success is a shared victory and celebrate their achievements without the need for validation or recognition for ourselves. This approach enhances our ability to build strong, supportive relationships and contributes to a positive and inclusive environment where everyone's accomplishments are valued and respected. Choosing silence during others' success is a reflection of respect, humility, and genuine support. It allows their achievements to be celebrated without overshadowing them, fosters positive relationships, and offers us a chance to reflect on our own aspirations. This practice not only contributes to a more harmonious and supportive atmosphere, but also enriches our own personal growth and understanding. In moments of personal failure, embracing silence can be a deeply transformative and healing practice. Failure, though often perceived negatively, is an intrinsic part of the journey toward growth and self-improvement. When we encounter setbacks or disappointments, the instinct might be to explain, justify, or even defend ourselves. However, choosing silence during these times can provide a crucial opportunity for introspection, learning, and personal development. Failure can be a vulnerable experience, often accompanied by a range of emotions such as embarrassment, frustration, or regret. In the wake of a setback, our immediate reaction may be to speak out, whether to explain the circumstances, deflect blame, or seek sympathy. Yet, speaking in these moments may not always serve our best interests. Instead, silence offers a valuable space for us to process our feelings and thoughts more deeply. When we embrace silence following a failure, we create an environment conducive to self-reflection. This pause allows us to step back from the immediate emotional response and to assess the situation with a clearer and more objective perspective. It provides an opportunity to evaluate what went wrong, understand the factors that contributed to the failure, and identify areas for improvement. This reflective silence is essential for extracting meaningful lessons from the experience, which can guide us in making more informed decisions and adjustments moving forward. Furthermore, silence in the face of personal failure helps us avoid the pitfalls of the defensiveness and denial. It can be tempting to justify our actions or to shift blame onto external factors, but these responses often hinder genuine learning and growth. By choosing to remain silent, we resist the urge to deflect responsibility and instead focus on understanding and addressing the root causes of our failure. This approach fosters personal accountability and resilience, key components of long-term success and improvement. In addition, silence during personal failure allows us to manage how we present ourselves to others. It offers a moment to control our narrative rather than letting our emotions dictate our responses. By not immediately vocalizing our frustrations or regrets, we can more thoughtfully consider how we wish to communicate about the failure, if at all. This careful approach helps ensure that our eventual discussions are constructive and focused on growth, rather than being driven by raw emotion. Moreover, embracing silence can facilitate a more supportive and constructive response from others. When we do not immediately seek validation or sympathy, we give others the space to offer their support and insights in a more meaningful way. This can lead to more helpful and less reactive conversations, contributing to a more positive and constructive dialogue about our setbacks. In practical terms, practicing silence after a failure means taking a deliberate pause before speaking about the experience. It involves refraining from immediate reactions, justifications, or explanations, and instead allowing time for thoughtful reflection and emotional processing. This period of silence is not about ignoring the failure, but about creating a space where we can gain clarity and perspective. By embracing silence in moments of personal failure, we foster an environment of introspection and growth. It enables us to learn from our experiences, manage our responses more effectively, and engage in more constructive conversations. This approach not only aids in our personal development, but also helps build resilience and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our journey. When it's not your place to speak, practicing silence can demonstrate respect, enhance understanding, and foster more meaningful interactions. There are times in conversations or situations where others hold expertise, experience, or authority that makes it more appropriate for them to share their insights or perspectives. In such instances, choosing silence allows us to honor their position and contribute to a more respectful and effective exchange of ideas. In many scenarios, especially in professional or specialized settings, others may possess a deeper or more relevant understanding of the topic being discussed. When we recognize that our own knowledge or experience is limited compared to theirs, choosing silence is a way to show respect for their expertise. It acknowledges that they are in a better position to provide valuable insights or information, and it allows their contributions to take precedence over our own input. Moreover, remaining silent when it's not our place to speak can facilitate a more focused and productive dialogue. When everyone respects the boundaries of their own expertise and allows those with the most relevant knowledge to speak, the conversation is likely to be more informed and constructive. This approach prevents the dilution of important information with less relevant perspectives and ensures that the dialogue remains centered on the most pertinent issues. Silence in these moments also promotes a deeper understanding and appreciation of the perspectives of others. By actively listening and refraining from interjecting, we give ourselves the opportunity to fully absorb and consider what others are saying. This attentive approach not only enhances our comprehension of the topic, but also allows us to appreciate the nuances and complexities of their viewpoints. It fosters an environment where we can learn from those who have more experience or expertise, enriching our own knowledge and broadening our perspective. Furthermore, choosing silence when it's not our place to speak can help build trust and strengthen relationships. It demonstrates that we value and respect the contributions of others and that we are willing to defer to their knowledge or experience. This respect can lead to more collaborative and positive interactions, as it shows that we are engaged and supportive of their role in the conversation. It fosters a culture of mutual respect and encourages open and honest communication. In practical terms, recognizing when it's not our place to speak involves being mindful of the context and the contributions of others. It means listening actively, asking questions when appropriate, and deferring to those who have more relevant expertise or authority. This practice requires self-awareness and the ability to assess when our own input may be less relevant or appropriate. By embracing silence in situations where it's not our place to speak, we contribute to a more respectful, informed, and collaborative environment. We show appreciation for the knowledge and contributions of others, enhance our own understanding, and strengthen relationships through respectful engagement. This approach not only enriches our interactions, but also supports a culture of effective communication and mutual respect. Thank you.